Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of Talking Reds. My name is Stewart and alongside me in the same postcode, not quite in the same room because we're not in a room, but so close I can almost touch you.
2 meters.
Oh, Lizzi Doyle, welcome. How cool is this to be out in the sunshine?
Oh, it's lovely and it's so lovely to be here with you, Mo. Like, it feels like such a long time since I've done anything like this. Obviously we've done a couple of bits post-match, like in the office, but this just feels nice. I feel like the slightest bit of normality. It is lovely to be in the sunshine, albeit it's a little bit chilly, but yeah, I'm feeling good. The sun makes me happy.
It's a good day. It's a good day for everybody. Happy birthday to Nico Williams, to Marco Grujic. Ramadan Mubarak to all of you who are celebrating, and we are happy because we are not just out the house, we are here in Taggy's, which is going to be our new match day HQ for a little while. We're going to be doing all of our match content here, hot mics, post-match, and it's exciting to be able to be around other people and start to get a little bit of a proper atmosphere back before we can finally get back in the ground.
Yeah, it's huge. This is a really sort of like exciting thing for us, I think, at the Anfield Wrap, and hopefully for you as subscribers, because you know you will notice the difference, I'd like to think. So just from our perspective, and listen, I know everyone's in the same boat, but when it's your job to talk about it and work, it's been quite hard really to sort of, especially when Liverpool have been playing so awful, like to sort of keep your spirits up, to keep your mood up, and to constantly, like, you're watching it on your own maybe, or in your house with your family, which is fine, and then to talk about it, you're logging onto a screen and you're like the Brady Bunch, and it's just, it's a little bit soul destroying. And listen, it's fine, I'd rather have that than not at all, but to be sat here like at Taggy's, which is a place that we know so well. Yeah. Obviously it was, it's still Hotel Tea, but the downstairs is now called Taggy's. But this is where we've done our post-match content for quite a while now. And to actually think that we're going to be sat here back after a huge match like tomorrow, together, you know, albeit outside, but the beer garden's great. You know, Webster's going to be playing. It just feels nice, and like I say, the sun's shining, so everything in the sunshine feels better. But I think this is just like a really good step for us as the Anfield Wrap to be able to say that, you know, with the restrictions lifting a bit, that we're going to use it to our advantage. So around matches, we're going to try and do as much as possible in person, because you know yourself, Mo, like it's so much different, the vibe when you're in person, isn't it, and bouncing off each other rather than talking to a wall. Yeah,
it is, and you can kind of start to go a little bit mental, especially when, like you say, Liverpool doing really badly. You're finding yourself trying to mute that commentary or do this commentary, or maybe sit in that chair or sit in that chair and see if it will make a difference. No, you don't have to do that now. We can kind of chat to each other, we can bounce off of each other, we can have a drink, we can enjoy ourselves. We can almost touch the ground from where it is. And as you say, the first time here is going to be for the Real Madrid game. Unfortunately, I have to stress at this point that if you don't have a ticket already, you can't come down. We are not encouraging people to come down with tickets. We are sold out. However, as Liz is going to tell you, there's plenty more opportunity for you to come here and feel like you're here, and maybe even be here in person later on. Yeah,
please don't come down tomorrow. That might seem a bit mad, but we're just saying, like, we just want to show you how boss it is, and hopefully when you see our post-match content, you know, you'll get a vibe for it and come down another time, because Taggy's isn't just open on match days, it's also open each day. We can come down, have a pint, have some food, but there's still some tables left for Leeds, I believe, which is a Monday night, and I think a couple of games going forward. So just keep an eye on all the socials, it'll give you all information as to where you can get your tickets. And do think about it, because honestly, like, this is a place, even if you can't get a ticket, for example, Mo, where people come down specifically, it's a go-to place to come and watch the match, isn't it? And I think, like, if you do have the opportunity to come down, you should do, because it's probably the closest thing you'll get to a bit of a match-like atmosphere, or at least if you're not used to going to the match, at least if you're in a bar, if you're used to watching things in a bar and a pub, like, you're not going to get a better atmosphere right here in the heart of Anfield. And I can't quite believe that I'm going to be here on Wednesday. I just thought, right, it's like a pub, isn't it? And that's all I've really thought about. I've completely sort of forgot about the ground being there. And I feel quite mad that, like, tomorrow night we're going to be here working, and in there is going to be Liverpool versus Real Madrid. Like, it's huge. It's absolutely massive. So I'm going to be screaming and hoping that they can hear me. Sorry, yeah. I'm a foghorn.
Oh, you know, could you imagine? I just see them turn around.
Screaming at Alison, get your muzzy back! Where's your muzzy gone?
I mean, I do feel a bit sad. Like, it was weird when I saw him without it. It was a bit like, oh,
I know,
that's a
it was quite
shame.
sad, really.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happened there. I don't reckon his missus is into it, and I think she's put her foot down, and I think it's a tragedy.
You know what? I didn't even consider that, but I should have considered that, because that is something...
She was the one that posted it, that's why I'm saying it. She posted it, didn't she? And it was like, that's where the picture broke. And I'm thinking, did she do it to go like, oh my God, you know when you go like, my fella's a show? But like, I was thinking, your fella's not a show. He looks unreal. He looks like a film star.
She should know how much we love him and how much everyone kind of like idolizes that whole head of his. So any change in it, and especially one like that where he looks so smooth, but obviously he is now without it. Maybe we'll see it coming back in later on in the season or in the seasons to come. But speaking of comebacks, we're going to be talking about Real Madrid in a little while. But before we do, we've got one of Liverpool's favourite former left-backs talking about Liverpool's favourite current right-back, Steve Warnock on Trent AlexanderArnold.
Steve, there's only one obvious moment, and that is the goal at the end there from Trent AlexanderArnold. After all the talk, all the analysis, all the discussion, that was a nice way to answer all that from Trent, wasn't it?
Lovely. Do you know what's interesting? You know, when the ball fell to him, he's the one player on the pitch you'd want it to fall to. Because you look at Salah, it wouldn't have suited him on his right foot. Mane, not in form. Jota, but left-footed again. But just the way it fell, that position to take it out with his feet, and then you just know the technique he's got, don't you? And you just think it just suited him down to the ground. Our midfielders, would it have suited them? I'm not so sure it would, because our midfielders aren't the type who like to have a shot, if I'm being honest. The only real one is possibly Oxlade-Chamberlain. He's the only one that came to mind. So it was just, I mean, you talk about the moment, and it was the perfect moment to be in, wasn't it, for him?
Yeah.
Just
unbelievable.
The technique was just perfect.
It's a touch before as well, isn't it? I mean, you know, when you watch it back, you're a bit like, well, what's he doing over there? And he's gone off the pitch and come back on and sort of, you know, just floated back into that position. Yeah. But it's a lovely little touch before it to set it. And then, the technique to actually put it in the corner. I mean, it's the most in the corner, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? You couldn't get more in the corner if you tried.
Well, I did the game for LFC TV, and Gary Gillespie, we were talking during the game, and Gary just turned around. He said, he's our best attacking player at the moment, Trent. Like, he always wants to try and make something happen. And just with that run across the pitch, trying to draw people out of positions, and then getting yourself back into a position where you can then... He's there to stop the ball breaking, in a way. But then when it does fall to him, like you say, the touch is lovely. And then it's just... it's ridiculous finish, isn't it? I mean, you can see the guys, because often when you see someone on the edge of the box, you think, okay, well, just get me body in the way. I'll get myself in a nice position. But the speed in which he hits the ball, you've got no chance. Because I remember looking at it after thinking, like, Tyrone Mings sort of turned away from it a little bit. But I'm thinking, he hasn't. That's just in slow motion. He hasn't got time to adjust because of how quickly Trent does it.
Thanks very much to Steve there. Now, that show is called The Moment, and it's in part of our subscriber package. So if you are a subscriber, you can go and check it out. If you're not, we have tokens available, free tokens for you to try stuff out. But on top of that, talking about our post-match coverage tomorrow, that's going to be free as well, isn't it?
All free. So all this lovely stuff that we've been talking about, our post-match content, and sort of giving a glimpse into what it'll be like. You're actually going to see that for free tomorrow and hear it for free. So your pink will be free and your post-match pint will be free. So pink on all your podcast platforms, post-match pint on YouTube. So tell your mates, share it.
Post-match AFQ as well, which has become one of the most popular things that we've been doing.
Honestly, it's been crackers post-match AFQ. It's been like this weird... some of the things I've come out of that is mad, but I don't know if we're doing that one tomorrow. But we've definitely got the pink and post-match pint out for free. So you can download the Anfield Wrap app as well, which is also free. You can listen and watch those things for free on the app, and then whilst you're there, you'll get the tokens that Mo spoke about, to use for the more premium things. So that might be a better way of doing it, because then you're not just getting them 2 shows free, but if you download the app, get the tokens, then you can listen to maybe the review podcast the next day where they go in depth, or you can watch the moment like you did with Steve Warnock. So there's loads up there. Like, it's a really good time to subscribe, and for such a big game as well.
You know what? I was just thinking when you were talking, it's like, I really enjoy doing shows with you. You make my life so much easier. Like, I'll just say one thing and then you just be like, bam, this is the information
my job
you need.
now. I just,
boom, boom,
that's what I'm like organised, and I hit every box. There's nothing, like, no stone unturned. What's the word I'm looking for? Is that the right phrase?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
The sentiment's the same. Anyway.
And obviously, no stone unturned is a good segue into the match itself, because Jurgen and his boys will be leaving no stone unturned in an effort to try and pull back this deficit we've got. Obviously, as I say, we are currently 3-1 down from the first leg, but a 2-0 victory is all we need, or a 3-1 to take it into further extra time. Now, Real Madrid have looked pretty good. I don't know if any of you out there watched the Clasico on Saturday and got a little bit depressed, because I did. And they still look very good. But, Lizzie, this is Liverpool. We know about European comebacks. We are the OGs of European comebacks. Tell everyone why this can be another.
We are the OGs of European comebacks. Oh God, you're going to hate me because I'm going to sound pessimistic, but they are a very good team now. But that's not to say it's impossible. No. I think the Aston Villa win is huge in that, like, we played better, but I think getting the win sort of in the manner that they did, from the player that they did from Trent, and I think all those little things, sometimes when you get the roll of the dice, gives you so much confidence to know that, like, Liverpool last season were so good at not playing well and winning. Yeah. So it's been really hard this season for it to be not playing well and not winning. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of things that have been weighing on the minds, and everyone will talk about the Anfield record, where we lost 6 consecutive games. Before the Villa game, we'd only scored 1 game in this year at Anfield. All that stuff will have been on the mind, but I tell you what, like, if there's one team I back, it's this Liverpool team. Now, it's funny because I've been asked a few times, like, what do you think Klopp would do? And I said, well, there's one reason why he's a football manager and why I'm not. Because I think what he's going to do would be very different to what I'd like to see and what I'd like to do. I am very much in the camp of make it a bit bonkers. Yeah, I want to see it bonkers.
Just go for it. I mean, it's funny because Real Madrid, particularly their world-class midfield, have been together since like the last 7 or 8 years. People talk about them being old and them being slow. They've still got the nous. They were a little bit quicker in their heads, and that was the problem for Liverpool. Yeah. They were a little bit streetwise for us. We were a little bit naive in some areas. But in a game like this, where we know that we can't really let them score, what are you trying to go out for an early goal, try and lift everybody, try and put some doubt in their mind, or are you going to be like, just keep it tight? Maybe try and get... I mean, if you think about the Leipzig tie, we scored 2 goals in 5 minutes twice in the second half. If we do that again tomorrow, we're through.
Yeah, it's hard really, because I was very much of like, go for it. And the reason I say that is because people say like, oh, we only have to win 2-0. And I'm like, that's a big ask to not concede against a side like this. And in my head, and it's not to say that we're not going to win, but in my head, I just feel like I don't see a world where they don't score. I feel like they will score. So for me, you need to outscore them. I think if you're 2-0 up, for example, and you're in the last 10 minutes, then that's where, or 15 minutes or whatever, 30 minutes even, like you get to 60 and you're 2-0, you've got what you need. Then you maybe start to change your game plan about like, we need to, but this, like you've just said it there, Mo, they're so experienced. They know how to get through these ties. They've shown their experience in the last game. And even though you can talk about age, their experience shown in terms of like, I don't know how old Karim Benzema is, but you're looking at someone of his ilk against someone naturally, and it's not me doing him down. I think he's been brilliant, but someone like Nat Phillips, that's just not a partnership that would have ever come together, is it? Nat Phillips versus Karim Benzema, but like they're the sort of situations where it's going to be really hard for Liverpool, and they need to keep the cool, keep the calm. And I think if they can do that, great. But like, I've been talked around to both scenarios, but for me, I find it too hard to believe that they're not going to score.
I think you're right. I think when you look at the matchup that they beat us with in the first game, i.e. the pace of Vinicius, we aren't very much of a quick back line
Yeah.
at the moment, and there's no real way of solving that. And obviously there's talk of the high line, blah, 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 blah. The fact is that we're still going to be doing that way.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I
So we
think-
might as well do what we do best. And I think for me, I want to see all four up front.
Yeah.
Now, people will say that leaves us with less options off the bench. Now, I actually do get that point. But for me, I'm a bit like, you've got 90 minutes to get through here. And I think the first 45, first 60 is huge.
I mean, I think that the bench is going to play a big part. If you look back at some of the other times that we've done it, I mean, the Barcelona game's a classic example. Gini comes off
Yeah.
the bench, and to be honest, he's pissed off to be on the bench,
Yeah.
isn't he? So he
Yeah.
comes on with that fire. And you think about the way the Klopp can manage this squad, because he's got 5 substitutions, because it's a Champions League as opposed to 3. So he can be a little bit more funky with how he does things. But you've got Divock Origi, still knows how to turn it on when he wants
He's
to in
been
the
on the
Champions
bench
League.
for the last few games,
Hasn't
though,
been
has
on
he?
the
I
bench.
don't know where
Maybe
he is.
he's been saving him for this moment. Maybe he knows. Look,
If there's one man that knows how to
Hey.
score against the Spanish team,
it's like,
Divock
boss,
Origi.
this is what I do, right? This is what I do. But yeah, we know that obviously he's not been playing great recently, but it's not beyond him to have one final moment before he goes
No.
off into the sunset. You know, it's possible.
oh, I'd love it. Honestly, Mo, I'd be like legging it up to Anfield, just like, yeah, I'd be honest to God. That's a joke, I won't be doing that. But I think
Don't do
basically, like for me, I just look at when Diogo Jota comes on in that Arsenal game, and that's when the 2 goals happen, isn't it? Like as soon as he comes on with the 4 on the pitch, and that shows how effective we are. Now, that's what I'd do, but then when I'm talking about what I think Klopp will do, and sort of understandably, I think he'll go 4-3-3, and I think he will go with his trusty front 3. I think because Diogo Jota for impact, like if those front 3, Mane, who's not in great form, but Firmino, Salah, if they can get, let's say 1 goal, for example, it's 1-0, around 45 minutes, like you say, the 5 subs, and he brings Jota on for a midfielder. That's something that they have to think about, isn't it? So it's a really tough one, and I'm sort of on the fence of like, if it's a 4-3-3, I want to see a midfield, and I'm thinking, ideally, I think I'd like James Milner in there over Gini Wijnaldum. I think Fabinho and Thiago should be the 2. If you're playing 4-2-3-1, they're your 2. I think those 2 together need to play. But if he's going to do a 3 in midfield, for me, what James Milner's shown over the last few games is intensity, that leadership that we missed from Jordan Henderson. I don't think we've had that with Gini.
Yeah, again, it's the meters in his head and the leadership, and just, you know, this is going to be one of those games where concentration is going to be key. So being on everyone's backs to keep it going. I think you're right. And obviously, we've already mentioned the fact that Real Madrid's midfield 3 are advanced in years anyway, so it's not like he's going to be run past any of them. So yeah, I think it's a shout. I also hope that Curtis is back from injury to be able to come on and do something, because again, I would love to see him go on the pitch with that fearlessness and just start ripping stuff up. But we have to mention the fact that unlike all of our other comebacks in Europe, the Anfield atmosphere will be missing. That has been maybe our trump card in a lot of them. Do you think that they can get over that? I mean, we mentioned the Aston Villa game. We kind of stared our demons right in the face with being 1-0 down again at half-time, and we managed to pull it back. I mean, technically, we scored 3 goals in that game. I don't care what VAR tells you. Technically, we scored 3 goals in that game. So our goal-scoring confidence is coming back. I know it's not going to have crowd, but it's going to be a big ask, but we're capable, aren't we?
Yeah, it is going to be. I think it shouldn't be underestimated about the sort of size of the ask, but I also think that it is absolutely possible. I think that 1 goal, I don't think people realise how important that is. This is not a bigger deficit to turn over as Barcelona.
No.
But then I would argue that personally, I think this Real Madrid team is better than that Barcelona team that we played. But that is just my opinion. Shoot me down if you want. But they can do it. But this is why, for me, it's really important to get somebody like James Milner on, because without us there, like, we'd make it feral, wouldn't we? Like, we'd be animals, wouldn't we? We'd be screaming every time they touch the ball, and we've seen it. It puts people off, like it does, and it's not just Anfield, but like fans make a difference. But no, we're not there. So for me, it needs players to really dig in and use the experience that they've gained as well.
Yeah.
We're always talking about Madrid's experience, but this side's won the Premier League, this side's won the Champions League. It got to the Champions League final the year before. So if Gini Wijnaldum is wearing the captain's armband, you know, he needs to dig in. If it's James Milner's there, he's going to have to be the one to pull them up. Andy Robertson, captain for Scotland. You know, Mo Salah, there's Alisson, there's leaders all over that football pitch, and they really need to step up. Like, they need to do more of what is asked of them. But if there's any set of players that I think we could ask that of, I think it's these ones.
Well, this is it. That's a famous quote from Jurgen Klopp at half-time in the Barcelona ties. Like, any other team, I'd say there's no chance. But because it's you, we've always got a chance. And that's the truth. Obviously, like I said, we're going to be crossing our fingers that the boys can do the job. We're going to be enjoying it from here at Taggy's. Once again, as I said, you are going to get an opportunity to come here in the future. There are still tables available for the Leeds game, but you can see us from here.
You can get the experience of Taggy's from tomorrow, from us, for free.
For
That's the main
absolute
thing.
free.
So even though you can't come down, and literally, I'm going to say it again, do not come down, because it will cause murder, but also, like, there's just no space, and we're not lying when we say that. So we just want to show you what it will be like, and our content will also show that, and that content is free. So please do check that out. Tell your mates to watch it, tell your mates to listen to it, because it is open. It's going to be another big famous European night. I'm all excited now. I'm up for it.
I know, me too. And
It's too early for the beer.
I don't know, maybe a nice, beautiful walkout. I mean, we're here getting ready. There's bars a couple of doors down. They're all getting ready. The atmosphere is building. Even if you're just walking around in the sunshine and you're thinking about the game tomorrow night, you're going to get excited. Hopefully, birthday boy Marco Grujic does us a favour and knocks out Chelsea tonight.
Yes.
And then we'll have another great tie to look forward to. Lizzie, I'm going to enjoy the rest of my day no matter what happens.
Same. Thank you very much, Mel.
See you all again soon.